Welcome to Lemonade Yoga's first class. My name is Sandy, and today we will be doing an introduction to yoga and an introduction to a very basic floor practice. So we're set up here on some yoga mats. It's not absolutely necessary that you have a yoga mat to practice. I also have blocks here. It's also not absolutely necessary that you have any props to practice. Really all you need is yourself and a comfortable place to be. Some guides for your practice that I would like you to consider all the time, we have 3, will be your comfort level. So anytime, I invite you, anytime that a teacher is offering you something, anytime that it doesn't feel good for you, or you don't like the shape or where it's going, or you're just not comfortable with it, then I invite you to choose not to do that. Pain level. Your pain should not be exacerbated. If you're in pain to start with and you just always have low back pain no matter what you do, then you can still practice with that pain. But if you're doing something and it makes that pain worse, I would encourage you to back out of that exacerbation level, that where it got worse. So your pain should not get worse with your practice. If you get a pain response while you're doing a yoga posture or you're practicing your yoga, then I invite you to back up out of that, and I'll talk about that as I teach. The next guide is that this is a choice-based practice, and what that means is that every single thing that we offer is entirely up to you to choose to bring into your movement and your body and your life and your practice. So please just take what you like, and don't at all feel like you have to do anything that you don't want to do. So we'll begin class always by coming to seated. And what coming to seated looks like in a yoga practice is getting comfortable seated. So if I sat down and my knees were way up here because my hips are tight, one thing that you could do would be to bring some blocks or books or any object under your knees, and that will take some pressure off of the hips and strain out of the knees. The other thing you can do is just change your leg shape, like take legs straight. That's totally fine. If your back is sore and or you have a weak back, then I invite you to come to a wall. So just backing up to a wall and letting your low back be supported by it is a great way to be supported and still work on your seated postures. So I'm going to bring the block under my right knee because that's my side that needs a little support, and I'm going to use the wall. So the next thing that I'll talk to you about is an awareness to breath. Largely, yoga is an exercise form, that we consider it here in America. Where yoga becomes very magical is when you combine your movement with your breath. So we'll always begin class with an awareness to breath and perhaps a breath exercise or two. And then when we go into our actual movements, we'll have you move as you breathe. So let's begin with an awareness to breath. So just getting yourself in your seated place as comfortable as you can get. I'd like you to bring your attention to your feet and the floor underneath of you. And maybe lean if you're on an object, just settle your physical body. And then turn your attention to your breathing. So it might help you to soften your gaze downward and focus on the floor. You could even close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. But I'd like you to just take your awareness to your breath. Notice when you're inhaling, how does it feel? How long does your inhale last for? Where do you feel your inhale moving to in your body? Is it moving like into your chest? Maybe you're good at working in your diaphragm and belly, and when you breathe, your belly moves a lot. So like 5 breaths more here. Maybe stretching your inhale out and your exhale out to be longer. If you know Ujjayi breathing, that's a basic yoga breath. You're always welcome to integrate that into your practice. You may notice after these few minutes of bringing your awareness to your breath that your breath is deeper now and more full, and that's great. As a reminder, as we move through our physical practice, which we call asanas in yoga, if anything doesn't feel good for you or you don't like it, then please change or adjust. And just do your best to stay within the realm that we're working. So the first posture that we'll work into now is called side bend, a side bend. And I'm just going to pull myself away from the wall a slight bit. For a seated side bend, in crisscross legs, I would have you take your hand out to the side of you. So I'm going to start with my right hand right out from my hip. And walking the hand out onto your fingertips. And here's where we're going to coordinate our breath with our movement. I'll have you inhale and lift the left arm up. And as you exhale, gently bend the bottom arm, allowing that shoulder to slide down your back, and then allowing your neck space not to get crunched up there. We will hold each posture for up to 6 breaths. Your top arm can roll inward, and I call that wrapping the shoulder. I like to reach out through that because it feels good in the shoulder. Now, as you're holding this posture, feel for a neutral neck. I can relax my neck comfortably here, but if your neck is in any kind of discomfort or pain, then I invite you to change it. We don't want any pain response in your pose. So you could lift your head a little bit. You could look up to the ceiling, which is very traditional. You could relax the chin forward. All different ways to move your neck, to change it, to play with what works in your physical body and what doesn't. And coming out of this shape, we'll inhale and lift the top arm up. Take a moment to notice what that did to your body. And then walking your left hand out for your second side onto your fingertips. Inhale, reach your arm up on inhale. And as you exhale, ease the bottom shoulder down, bending the elbow, allowing for that spaciousness in the right side of your body. I'm going to exhale as I wrap the top shoulder forward, just bringing the shoulder girdle down away from the neck and ear. And then I'm going to stretch out through the arm a little bit. Feel for reaching a nice opening in the shoulder. So again here, get your neck comfortable. Feel for what part of this feels nice for you or good or opening. Allow your jaw to soften. Every single posture, there's going to be a lot of room for you to make micro adjustments. You can move a little bit here and there to get yourself as comfortable as you can be. That's great. And coming out of this posture, inhale as you lift your arm up, and exhale as you come out of the posture. So we just like to take a moment after everything that we do, especially as a beginner, to just notice what it did for us. I can feel my shoulders are a little bit softer and they're a little warmer. And that typically happens because we have held our arm up. And when we do that, we bring synovial fluid into the joint, which is a good beginning exercise. So just in the realm of physical stuff, warming the shoulders. Next, we'll do an easy forward fold. And I think that we'll do this one to each side. So you could, and then forward, just to add a little bit. So the first one, I've got my legs sort of wide. If your knees hurt here, a way that you could support yourself with the blocks would be, put something under the knee. Also supporting your back sometimes is helpful. For a forward bend, there are lots of ways to teach it, but let's start by going to the left. I'll have you reach your arms up, creating some spaciousness in the spine. As you exhale, bend forward, hinge forward from the hips, and once your back and your body stops you, then allow your arms to come down and your shoulders to soften. Now from here, you can let your neck roll forward, and then just hang out and do your micro adjustments for, again, 4 to 6 breaths here. If you want to really reach for that foot, you can. You can reach for that foot and pull a little bit if that feels good in your body. This is your practice. After being in a pose for a few breaths, sometimes the body will give a little. So here I can feel that my body will allow me to forward fold even more. So I'm going to do that with an exhale. Just a little bit further, maybe walking the hands out a little bit more. It feels good in the back of the neck to let the head hang here. If that didn't feel good for you, then I would invite you to just bring your head up and keep your neck neutral. And then coming out of that, if you want to strengthen in your arms, then bring your arms up, lifting yourself all the way up to the core and back to center. And then second side, we'll go just turning the ribs towards the second leg. Inhale, reach the ribs up, creating as much spaciousness between the spine bones as you can. And as you exhale, come forward. When the back stops you, when your leg stops you, let your arms come down. And then allow your head to roll forward if that feels good for you. Or lift your chin up and keep your neck neutral while you work on stretching your low back and your hamstring. That's the back of your thigh. Deep breath here. If you're doing Ujjayi, that's a whisper sound through the back of your throat, then do that. But if you're just normal breath, then take some good breaths, some good deep breaths. Wherever you can get them. When you're in a forward fold here, it's not easy to breathe into the belly because the belly's crunched up. So maybe bringing your breath into your upper back. Again, if anything doesn't feel good for you or it causes you a pain response, then play with it a little. You can back up, you can go further. And then let's reach on up again, this time reaching up to come back. And that's just as a matter of choice. That was a choice to bring my arms up versus just walking them up. So forward folds going straight. So this time I'm going to have my legs in front of me. And this is a really classic, we've all done this in gym class, right? I'm going to reach up again just because it creates spaciousness in the spine and low back. So I'll inhale and reach up. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips. My body's going to stop me, and then I'm going to allow my spine to just roll forward. If you really like pulling, you can grab onto your legs and gently traction. You could also grab onto your feet and pull a little bit. If you're doing that, I invite you to keep the shoulders down and the neck and jaw soft. Neck is neutral, so maybe hanging forward if that feels neutral and comfortable, or lift it up, or maybe straight spine. I can also straighten my spine here, and those are all just choices, ways that you can take the posture. So I invite you as a beginner to your practice to just play a little bit with each of those shapes and see what you like, what resonates in your body.
Now this time I'm going to choose to come out of my forward bend just a little differently. I'm going to release my clasp and just walk my hands up.
That's totally fine. So a few seated postures. Next, we will go for a laying down spinal twist. And this one is fantastic. I think I will move my body to the side a little bit so you can see. For a laying down spinal twist, there's, again, a million ways to go after it. The way that I love to do this posture is to start with my back nice and flat. So sometimes I lengthen the low back so it's nice and flat. And then one leg straight, one knee bent. So I'll just straighten my right leg. And then I'm going to inhale and reach up and grab the left knee with my hands. So from here, you can just gently pull the knee across the body. And maybe that's it for you. Maybe that's your twist for today, if you're getting a great stretch. If you want to go further than that, you can bring your knee all the way over onto the floor. And when that happens, your shoulder is going to come up, the other shoulder. So when that happens, you have a choice, more choices here, to put this hand somewhere interesting. So straight out to the side might feel good for you. Down on your hip might feel good for you. Or reaching your arm up over your ear. So this is a really dynamic one, and I like the side bend opening part of it. So that's what I'll choose for now. And I'll get another 4 breaths here. I invite you to get very curious about what works in this shape for you. So if your body's asking to fidget around a little bit and get comfortable, then do that. Your body has fantastic knowledge. And in our yoga practice, we really get to listen to the wisdom of our physical bodies. And if your body's asking for a change anywhere in there, then just do it. And then coming to the second side, to come out of a laying down spinal twist, it is good to pull the belly in towards the spine to protect the spine bones as you lift yourself up and square up again. So second side, I'll square up a little bit, and then straightening my left leg. I'm going to inhale and grab the opposite knee. On exhale, I'll bring the knee across my body. And this is a fantastic stretch for the hip flexors right here. So if that's enough for you, this could be your spinal twist, your laying down spinal twist. Choosing your arm shape, choosing how far you go over into your twist. It's all just a momentary choice. And then the next time that you practice, you can play with something different or keep doing it the same way. Get very curious as you do your poses where your breath goes to, because your breath is a very fundamental support to your body and your health and your life. And this is, again, another way that you can quiet your life and your brain down enough to listen and hear where your breath goes. How does it support you? Does it feel good for you? What parts of your habits around it would you like to change or shift? And then easing out of the spinal twist, I'll pull the belly in again and bring myself back to center. And now I'll sit up for this. The next thing that we're going to do is resting pose. So after we do a few postures, then we do what we call Shavasana. In Shavasana, we're just lying down and really just resting. What we say in this time is that it's most important that you're comfortable. So I'll show you a few variations on how you can lay down that we typically offer in a yoga class. But again, whatever feels good for you. I love to teach laying flat, just traditional, so really flat, just straight, legs kind of flopping out to the sides. Typically we'll say bring the shoulders under and down the back, and then palms out and open, if you like that. Variations on this could also include, especially if your low back is tender, to bring your knees up with your feet flat and have your knees leaning together. This creates less tension in the low back. And then also wherever your hands are most comfortable. So if you have stuff going on with your shoulders or you don't have a lot of room around you, you can bring your hands inward and place them on your heart or your belly. As you lie in Shavasana, I invite you to listen to your breath. Just feeling if it's a little quick, and then over the next minute, allowing your breath to soften and allowing yourself to just sort of space out. Not really having to do anything now, just resting. If your body needs to shimmy around or move a little bit, then do that. We invite you to close your eyes here. It can also be nice to cover your eyes with an eye pillow or a towel. And as you're resting, scan your body from the bottom up, bringing your awareness now to your feet and your ankles. Notice what they're in touch with, what they're in contact with. Can you feel the fabric or the texture of the floor or the mat underneath of you? And with an exhale, can you allow them to soften and rest a little bit more heavily into those contact points? Bringing your awareness now to your legs and hips. Notice where you're in contact with the floor, what parts of your body are being held or in contact. And again, on an exhale, feel for really softening and letting yourself be as heavy as you can be through those contact points. Just melting into the support that the floor is offering you. Moving upward now to your back, your arms, and your hands. Feel the fabric or the floor under you. Notice your contact points.
with another exhale, really let yourself sink into those contact points. Allow yourself to just melt and be even more relaxed now. And then finally, bringing your attention to where your head is in contact with the floor. So maybe it's the back of your head, or maybe some other support that you have going on there. But really notice what parts of your head is touching the ground. Take a scan of your face. I invite you to relax your eyes, your brain, your tongue, and your jaw. And then, again, in coordination with another exhale, really allow your head to be as heavy as it can be, sinking your whole body into the support that this floor is offering you and that the earth is offering you underneath of that floor. If you're in a very relaxed place, I invite you to stay as long as you like. For the purpose of this class, we're going to ease up, gently opening your eyes and bringing your attention back to your physical space. Moving your fingers and toes a little bit. And then sliding onto your side. So we transition slowly out of resting pose. Maybe resting on your side for a breath or two. And then using the strength of your arms to sit yourself back up. And we're in a seated in a class. When we're in a class setting, we typically will come up together and close class together with a thank you. And so I invite you to take this moment to acknowledge whoever you're practicing with, yourself, for showing up and trying this out. And I thank you for participating and checking it out. I love teaching yoga, and I think it's so fantastic that I'm doing this to share it with you. So I honor you, and I thank you.